Good morning, coffee moaners. Sorry for the pause. I was just quickly assembling a PDF of some quite unbelievable imagery from a Mar-a-Lago, is that how you pronounce it? Donald Trump's pad in Florida. Just unbelievable. Morning, everyone. Good morning. It's Monday. Welcome. If you're listening on podcast, welcome. If you're watching, I've already said welcome. How are we all? How was your weekend, guys? It was an odd one. It was an odd one here. We've got lots of content landing today. We've got a review of the new Palestine 36 movie, and crucially important, critically important piece of filmmaking. Palestine's official entry for the Oscars. It'll be interesting to see if it gains any purchase in America. Review of that's coming. Review of Begonia's coming. All sorts of movie reviews coming. Nadia's done a Nadia Unfiltered. We've got podcasts, all sorts of stuff coming away. Morning, Natasha. Thank you so much for your message this morning. Morning, Farida. Lovely to see you online over the weekend. I hope it all went well. Mandy Williams, Donna Holland, Kathy Bell, Janina M, Lynn Sheard. Welcome one and all. Welcome to this chinwag, and hopefully some of you have managed to Nanny Di's good. Thank you very much, Mandy. I was with her last night. Thank you very much. She's stable. She's in a stable situation, and we have sort of orientation, which is good. Morning, the green-eyed girl. So welcome. Yeah, weird weekend. How was everyone's weekend? It was fun. It was a remarkably odd, crispy, packety kind of curly cooks, wasn't it, this weekend? I'm still there we go. I'm still laughing from the curly cooks. Yes, it was odd. It was odd, wasn't it? We kept opening bags, or I opened the wrong bags, and then we put food in bags, and it was all very strange. Lots of plastic. Just having a drink if I suddenly go quiet. But when you're just solo presenting, it suddenly goes quiet, doesn't it? Morning, MRK40. I hope you and everyone else had a lovely weekend. I noticed lots and lots of people are still watching or dropping in on the interview I did on Friday. Was it Friday? Thursday, with the Harvard professor regarding the interstellar object. And we will be talking more about the interstellar object on the channel. A brief little update. Well, it kind of connects with Elon Musk today, bizarrely. So we're going to talk about that. But on that note, it's Monday morning. Let's just kick things off as if we're around the kind of water cooler. If you were told that this interstellar object was changed course and was hurtling to Earth, what would be the first thing you do? Not if you knew that it was like, oh, right, okay, it's on its way to Earth, and in about 46 days, don't know why I'm being so specific, it was to impact. What would you go about doing in your first response? He doesn't say it's aliens, actually, Laura Nolan. He literally, I mean, this is the bit that's the reason I wanted to talk to him. I was getting frustrated. He just names the anomalies. He doesn't actually say it's aliens. He names the anomalies and just says we can't ignore the anomalies. He gets characterized as an alien nut. What would you do? Lee Durrant, I like that. Crap myself. Yeah. Deborah Edgar, panic. Don't tell Nadia, but the crisps were so random. Yeah, it was odd. Yes, panic, crap myself, have a drink of iron brew, says Raspberry Mojito Girl. Call family. Yeah, Penny, I think that's it. Accept my fate, Jordan O'Sullivan. Make a cuppa and wait with anticipation. I think I'd put out the deck chairs on the veranda and, like you, make a cup of coffee, perhaps pour myself a stiff drink and just go, tally ho, and bring it on. Morning, Christopher, sending you love. Big hugs, matey Flip. I know you're going through a tough time at the moment. Elon wishes he was an alien, says Frida. He needs to feel the emotions of being an alien first. Yes, that's interesting, isn't it? Be annoyed I'd missed the Stranger Things finale, YouTube. Well, maybe what you could do in your last 46 hours is contact Netflix and say, come on, bring it earlier. Bring the broadcast date sooner, for God's sake. That's very specific, Bubblegum F. I'd have a tiramisu for jokes. Would you? I don't see getting drunk as the kind of, something that I've always wanted to do. But I think if I knew we were about to kind of go up and smoke, I might make a really large tiramisu and just fill it. What's the alcohol you put in tiramisu, by the way? Can't remember. Stephanie 3 Rose, I'd get my violin out like the Titanic. Well, who knows? I mean, there's the potentiality here that on December the 19th, it may happen. You never know. Let's just keep our fingers crossed it doesn't. Ooh, fabulous coffee out of a Turkish cup. Are we assuming aliens are a threat? That's a really good point, Deborah O'Keefe. That's something else. Why do we assume I think we're the Neanderthals. I think we're the ones that haven't evolved beyond hurting each other. And I'm of the opinion that if, say, it were intelligent life out there, and they weren't stupid enough to just hurtle towards us, I think they would have to be pretty damn collaborative and very intelligent to have kind of developed and devised the technology to reach here. So I think they'd probably be beyond that weird evolutionary stage of conducting wars, or, I don't know, destroying people based on their religion, or, committing genocides and things like that. I thought you were saying the object had moved course. Well, well, I didn't want to depress people. The suggestion is that it has moved course, that it has shifted a little bit. It has moved in its positioning. The news that landed shortly after, just to frighten you all, interstellar visitor 3I Atlas pulls away from sun in shocking move that baffles scientists. And that was a hangover. First evidence, says Avi Loeb, and this isn't his report, he was reporting another report. First evidence for a non-gravitational acceleration of 3I Atlas at perihelion. Perihelion basically means when it was at the closest point it was near to the sun, it moved. And it's non-gravitational. It's not being tugged in any direction. So, there are still a number of possible reasons for why that could have happened. But it's unusual. The list of unusual things keeps getting longer. And I think that's something that in and of itself is just what the Harvard professor was talking about. But anyway, we'll get back to all of that. I thought this was an interesting screenshot that what I quite like in Coffee Moaning is we have our stories. We're going to talk about the awful Cambridge train attack. We've got some clips in the aftermath. We've got a kind of step-by-step kind of what kind of happened, the heroes in the attack. What can one do to prevent these kind of attacks happening? And there was a huge amount of airtime given on the radio yesterday to, can we have metal detectors, and can you prevent this kind of errata of human behavior? Can you? I mean, does it raise questions about mental health? And was he known to the mental health organizations in the area? And then, of course, the other part of the story, which I think is really quite unpalatable and unfortunate, is the way it's been spun towards since, was it Stockport and various other kind of incidents, a sort of an ethnicity thing. What's the ethnicity of the people who've committed this? It's like it's becoming the first question. What was their ethnicity? And in this instance, their ethnicity is British. Let's just clear that up right from the get-go. But then, is there then a concern or a condition from some quarters in this country because one of them or both of them, or the two people who were originally arrested, I think only one's now in custody, were black? So those kind of conversations I don't know, I find it really unnerving that is one of the first conversations that we have. We're going to talk about the prison abuse tape leak in Israel. This is the footage that I'm not entirely sure we've ever shown it. I think it featured in a number of documentaries on TV. This is the footage from how do you pronounce it? Sud-Timon, the prison where, I don't know if you remember, several prison guards surrounded a Palestinian prisoner, and he was allegedly, he was sexually assaulted and raped. Of course, they now say it's allegedly because they don't want it to kind of spread around the world. Anyway, that tape was leaked. It was leaked by someone pretty senior in the Israeli military system. She went missing yesterday. There was chit chat that she could have committed suicide. She'd left a note. All this goes all very odd. But Netanyahu is most upset. Sir Day, thank you very much. Sir Day Timon. Thank you, Donald. But not surprisingly, Netanyahu isn't annoyed about the crime. He's annoyed about the fact that the world knows about the crime, which tells you, I feel it tells you everything you need to know about Netanyahu and his iteration of Israel. And we're going to talk about Elon Musk's weird Joe Rogan interview, in which he does talk about 3I Atlas, the interstellar object, and then says something very strange indeed. So in terms of the Cambridge train attack horror, let me just pull the headlines up on this. So here we go. Here's just some images from the papers from the Times, people kind of examining the railway. This is the journey from Doncaster down to King's Cross. It happened. They pulled in at Huntingdon. a marauding, knife-wielding nutter got on the train and just started slashing and stabbing. And these are armed police who were at the station within minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you some of the aftermath footage, or some of the footage. This is the Times footage as it was kind of happening last night. Police rushing to the scene of the stabbing. Lots of flashing blue light. Long lens shot of the police, armed police running along the platform, boarding the train in Huntingdon.
They're all running to the front of the train.
32-year-old black British was arrested, and he remains in custody while a 35-year-old other guy.
British Transport Police declared a major incident yesterday, and counter-terrorism policing were initially supporting our investigation. However, at this stage, there is nothing to suggest that this is a terrorist incident.
And there they are, sort of examining the tracks. Lots of, and this is the aftermath. Keir Starmer calling it an appalling incident. Now, I would say, in a febrile situation like this, let's assume this guy, because no one runs onto a train with a knife, stabbing wildly, and doesn't have a mental health problem. It's kind of endemic, isn't it? If you do it, you have a mental health problem. Whether he was on the radar with the local mental health services is another question. Has he slipped through the cracks? Was he out on the streets wielding a knife due to a lack of funding and infrastructure and all this kind of stuff? So those are the kind of vital questions. But why are people focusing on his ethnicity? Why are people focusing on his ethnicity? He did. He shouted that it was to do with the devil inside him. Here we go. The devil is not going to win, train attacker told passengers. And there's an image of him on the right there, obviously walking towards the scene. Passengers fleeing the train. Lots of people. Apparently, there was so much blood on the carriage, within the carriage. Some thought it was an overhang or some kind of stunt to do with Halloween. One guy was stabbed in the head, I think, as he was kind of shielding a younger woman. We also have the train driver who obviously got involved and tried to basically, do everything he could to kind of stop things. So the Daily Mail, when the screaming started on Saturday night trains, some passengers assumed it was a Halloween prank, a series of acts of heroism, and particularly from a rail buffet worker now fighting for his life, saved lives, according to witnesses. One young woman was listening to Queen and Oasis and was about to be stabbed when an older man threw himself in front of the blade. Police confirmed the suspect was born in the UK, is of Caribbean descent. They're understood to be looking into whether he was known to the authorities before the incident. So again, it's that sort of situation. What do you do? What do you do in a situation like this? How quickly do you respond? Putting all that aside, charges are being pressed. He's been named. Anthony Williams, 32, has been charged. It's just been announced about 40 minutes ago. Anthony Williams, 32, is charged over Huntingdon knife attack rampage. He's being charged with 1 count of actual bodily harm, 1 count of possessing a bladed article, and 10 counts of attempted murder following the train incident. 10 counts of attempted murder, as he should be. But so all of that is awful. We just have to keep our fingers crossed that the injured kind of railway worker doesn't get worse, that no one dies. It is. You're right, Reese. It is indicative of a supercharged. But this is the headline that really kind of, I don't know why, this is the one that kind of just concerns me. Police forced to disclose ethnicity of suspects to counter far-right speculation. And what do we make of this? I just want your comment earlier, Michu, where you just said it quite clearly, really. I can't find it. Ethnicity and nationality irrelevant. The question is why? Is this a sick human hunt sport to see what people can get away with? Are they paid? Well, in terms of the actual guy stabbing, he sounds, when you're talking about devils and demons, I think it's a safe assumption to say that there is a mental health collapse here. They've discounted and I mean, for those who were on the train, it was terror. They were terrorized. What they mean by it's not terrorism is it's not an organized, identifiable, radical Islamic or fascist kind of political ideology kind of attack. Donna Holland, Marky says the passengers, yep, stopping the devil. Most probably psychosis. That's what I think. It's sad that Farage wanted it to be a racist attack. Yeah, it's curious, isn't it? MRK40, I'm not defending this incident, but as someone who suffers with PTSD, I've seen firsthand how hard it is to get support regarding mental health issues. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think this is undoubtedly what we're going to find at the heart of it. Mental health funding, sadly inadequate. Janina M. Passive aggressive says, I hate how the media now preface every crime as to whether they are legal or illegal immigrants. It fuels and creates speculation for those who are already anti-immigrant. Absolutely right. And just putting the details of the incident to the side, the story in The Guardian, guidance, this is new guidance, you know, disclosing the ethnicity of the suspect. This is new guidance to combat misinformation. And this guidance, they're saying, is putting pressure on the police to release these sorts of details very quickly. And I can't, for the life of me, work out whether releasing, what does everyone here in the room think? In releasing the details, do you automatically fan the flame? So in this instance, they've identified the guy as British. Should it just be ethnicity? As in, should it be country of origin, nationality, rather than skin color? Because I'm trying to find a way around this so that it doesn't become a sort of feeding frenzy of speculation and information that allows the far right to be fueled. I mean, in this article in The Guardian, who was it? Dal Babu, a former chief superintendent in the UK's biggest force, has said that police being forced to disclose the race of suspects in incidents involving people of colour was an unintended consequence. When the new guidance was issued, I warned that there would be a danger, that there will be an expectation for police to release information on every single occasion. Edward Bevington, people are scared looking for patterns. Yes, where on that form is he? Black British, Caribbean British, African British. Yeah, I mean, Graham Murray, they love to bring the alleged far right into this. Everyone who has an opinion on the news of the day is far right, especially if that opinion doesn't align with that of the authorities. So what do you say? So do you think they should release the information? Or, I mean, is skin color merely a descriptor? Like, you know, if they go to the same lengths of saying, well, it was a short-haired, red-haired white man. It should just be that. I think there needs to be a way of just doing it that's kind of, do you see how it becomes? I don't know whether I find it a bit unsettling. I don't know whether it kind of fuels things. And then I came across this interview with, or rather this comment here. Where is it? Where did I put it? Lewis Goodall. He's one of the presenters on the newsagents, I think. He's on I think he's either a guest or it's his show on LBC. Listen to this. See what you think of this.
From abroad this morning. He tweets 41 minutes ago, what has happened to your country? 3 words, he says. Mass uncontrolled immigration. That's what's happened. I mean, for goodness sake, this is absurd. We've just heard from the police that the 2 suspects are British nationals. They're both born in the United Kingdom. That's not immigration, that's people who are here. And these people basically just hoping for even tragedies to fit their narrative. It's appalling. People who have got huge social media followings and so on, instead of just waiting for the police to say what they've got to say and the appropriate conclusions can be drawn. Astounding. The rising, simply the legitimization of just base reflexive racism in this country, day after day after day after day, is worrying, is disturbing and disgusting. And then they turn around these people, and go, oh, tensions are rising. Well, who rose the tensions? Who inflamed the tensions? You.
It's a really valid point. It's a real hot potato, this, isn't it? It's like, you know, they're British. Should it not just be enough that they're British? Or do they have to announce, is there a pressure on them to announce the skin color? Because perhaps eyewitnesses, perhaps people who are related or know people who saw what happened, or the police or someone, it spills out that there was an ethnicity to them. Unless they say Black British, the speculation could be, foreign illegal asylum seeker. But reflexive racism, that's what it is. And there seems to be a real appetite, principally on X, Twitter, to immediately, when there's something like this, kind of just promote a fake narrative quickly to generate a sense of fear. And I would equate it with this idea that if you keep, like, the right-wing Israeli supporting media keeps publishing headlines that says anti-Semitism is on the increase, the perception amongst many people in Jewish communities is going to be that anti-Semitism is on the increase, because all they keep reading is fucking headlines in papers that keep saying anti-Semitism is on the increase. But it doesn't necessarily mean that anti-Semitism is on the increase, as I talked about at the weekend. You know, the conflation of anti-Israel sentiment with anti-Semitism, not the same. You know, it's a fraudulent equivalence. But if you just see the headlines, and I do think this is where the media, and this is where, untoward activists, if you like, the Tommy Robinsons of the world, when they seize upon the ambiguities or the ethnic variables on what could be at the heart of a new crime, a new stabbing or something like that, you know, what they're doing is they're creating the tension themselves. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. And they know that. They know that it's rage baiting, isn't it? It's kind of fear baiting. It's race baiting. It's kind of throwing this meat out there, even if it's proven completely wrong within seconds. But it just generates for a moment in those who just read those first stories. Oh, it must be. This is, oh my God, now it's a black problem now, as well as a race problem, as well as a migrant problem. It's just awful. It's just, I just feel deeply, deeply uncomfortable. And in a weird way, I can't work out. And this is where I like to think we're kind of honest. Leslie Boyce, can you write whatever your comment is? I've just read your comment, but you haven't told me what your comment is. And bear in mind, we have a lot of comments coming. So yeah, be patient. But yeah, I'll post it again and I'll read it. You know, I literally, and we try to be honest about these things, me and Nads, I can't work out whether announcing, revealing, and telling the public the nationality and ethnicity of every single person who commits a crime, whether that potentially, I think the aim is that it dissipates and neuters the speculation. But I can't work out if it actually fans the flames of, maybe not the speculation in that case, but it kind of validates the feelings of racism in the country. Do you get me? Does that make sense? I don't know if I can quite handle, you know, the jury's out. I can't, on the one hand, you do want to remove speculation because it could cause all sorts of fake news. But at the same time, in naming it, you're falling into what I always use the phrase, a bear trap that's been set by I would say, the likes of Farage. Graham says, I can't see the comment from the person who was shouting, we should be more worried about the increase of knife-wielding thugs in our society than the far right. So my opinion or that of others doesn't make them or myself far right. It's knife gang. Graham Murray, on that statement, I entirely agree. I can't see the comment from the person. You were very sort of capital letters, and I can't see a comment. It's almost saying, Shilly, it's almost saying you can riot because it was a Muslim immigrant, but not riot because the accused is white. Selective outrage. Well, yeah, but you see, for me, it speaks to the same thing I've said a few times about the grooming gangs. People are more outraged, or, you know, let's say white indigenous folk are more outraged by a grooming gang that's ethnically defined rather than grooming gangs that are just white. I mean, there was a story in the press over the weekend about a grooming gang in Glasgow. All the faces I saw were white. I mean, we've got Andrew of Windsor having all his titles removed because he was part, it's not there, Leslie. You've just written it again and I can't see it. Oh, I am white British, married to mixed black British. It is frightening when they say black. Oh, sorry. Okay. Well, there you go. Yeah, I bet it is. I bet it's frightening. Because these headlines just, I do think but then, you know, it's such a tricky one, isn't it? Does anyone else feel that kind of conflict of, what the right thing to do is. On the one hand, you need to stop speculation, but on the other, you don't want to say, oh, I guess so. That's why I keep coming back to maybe there just needs to be, unless you're looking for someone, unless you're needing evidence. So, when you're looking for a suspect, you need to give a description of the person. Say someone's at large, someone's on the run. I can understand then. You say, no worries, Leslie. You can say red hair, black skin, Asian descent, you can get into that sort of stuff. If you've got the person, is it not simply enough to say British? As Lewis Goodall was saying there, 2 British people were originally arrested. Only one now has been charged. But can we not just leave it at that? Maybe there just needs to be that little caveat that we don't need to go to skin color. No need to say black when they already have him in custody. Absolutely, he's just British. Yeah, I think we're stumbling upon possibly the solution here. Maybe. Laura Nolan says no need to say black when they already have him in custody. Fiona Hennessy agreeing with for you, Leslie. Very frightening, Leslie. Rage baiting is disgusting. Shauna Jean, I think it's also important to remember that if he was unwell with psychosis, not all who experience psychosis are violent or attempt to kill. He could just be bad without being unwell. It was not all who experience a violent. Yes, no, what one mustn't, you don't extend the thought, well, just like you don't extend the thought from the Manchester stabbing guy, attack, because he was screaming anti-Semitic or he was conducting an anti-Semitic attack, that everyone who's Muslim hates Jewish people. You just don't do that. Equally, everyone with psychosis who goes through psychosis doesn't go out on a marauding attempt to kind of stab people. I think it's interesting what you say there, though. I think the term and the phrase psychosis and to have psychosis is incredibly loaded now. I think probably if you were told, you were sat in a room and you were told that the person next to you has psychosis, would you change? Would your vibration, physical vibration alongside them change? Laura Lou. After the London attacks, I do think the police need to make it clear as soon as possible if it's terror attack or not. Yeah, I totally agree. It's scary when attacks hit the news, not knowing if it could strike again. Absolutely. I mean, another thought that struck me, you may have seen on the channel if you follow us, we were particularly outraged by the speed with which our Home Secretary and our Prime Minister connected a clearly anti-Semitic whack job nutcase wanted rapist attack in Manchester with the peace protesters on the Palestinian marches, that they were creating a climate of anti-Semitism, and this was the eruption of what happened in Manchester. Outrageous, absolutely outrageous. But I was struck with this, incidentally, that they defined and decided it wasn't a terror attack. But let's just say, in his crazed, psychotic head, let's just assume that is the case. Say he'd seen a headline, or say he just decided because he thought it was funny to say, I don't know, up the jihad or something like that. Suddenly, quite quickly, all of our government officials would probably be trying to connect this again to the, and so one's a hair's breadth away from the weaponization and the politicization of everything. So I think it's really important. On the one hand, there's a speed thing here as well, isn't there? I think we've hit upon what the solution might be. If you've got the suspect, if you've got them, and they're British, you just say they're British. If you're still hunting for them, then you have to give descriptors. But does the information need to come out as quickly as it does? I guess it does, because social media speculation moves so fast, doesn't it? I mean, I guess that's the age we live in. Lee Durrant. I think prevention needs to be before someone gets to a train, but if you put officers on trains, you take them away from the streets. It's a complicated situation. Well, yeah, and there's a lot of talk about, should we introduce metal detectors? I was at a state school as a kid, and tragically, I think there was a knife attack, or a knife was pulled on one of our deputy heads, and then they tried to introduce, this was in the 80s, they tried to introduce a really old-fashioned metal detector, and of course back then it didn't work at all. But I mean, imagine, not only you're trying to use your Oyster card, but you're having to go through a metal detector. It would just be utterly impractical. Yes, it does. Mida Zulu. God, that's not a very particularly nice name, is it? I can see some. Let's just do that just for a minute. I have mental health problems, says Musical Chimp. So do I, mate. Let's just pop that up. But would never harm another human. Absolutely. I mean, neither would I. Vast majority of people wouldn't. Mayor, hope you're well. I'm just reading comments for those of you listening from our community. I get why the far right makes up a person and story. Excuse me. Anytime something like this happens, a colleague of mine fell for a fake account of a stabbing wherein they completely made up the name and race. I mean, this is, hang on. Sorry, I'm choking to death, which is kind of a crucial problem, isn't it, when you're podcasting or doing a live? Marina, maybe he was high on drugs. Maybe. I mean, we'll know in more detail once the kind of prosecution proceeds. So lots of thoughts coming out of that. Okay, I'm just going to pivot for a moment towards Donald Trump. Excuse me, I'm struggling with a sore throat. So Donald Trump on Air Force One asked about Andrew, formerly known as the artist called Prince.
The UK has had its royal titles stripped away because of the Epstein scandal. I know you're close to the royal family there. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I feel very badly. I mean, it's a terrible thing that's happened to the family. That's been a tragic situation. And it's too bad. I mean, I feel badly for the family.
The way he moves his head away at the end is like, yeah, now move on. That's all you're getting from me. I mean, you know, he's talking about Epstein, his best buddy. It's just ridiculous, isn't it? And he's upset for the family. It's such a shame. Such a shame. I won't do it because my throat's sore. He just lives in. He seems to be in the air all the time, doesn't he? All the time. In further news, he also, in totally out of keeping with what's appropriate, really. Good morning, Stuart G. He, as benefits, social care benefits ran dry, Trump threw a lavish private party at Mar-a-Lago with dancers. I mean, they're trying to, here's an image from the party. Correct me if I'm wrong, this feels like a step back towards some of the parties we've seen photos of him at with his buddy Epstein. No? Yes, no? I mean, quite remarkable. Sort of lots of kind of, you know, this is like the Great Gatsby. I think it was the Great Gatsby theme. This is something quite hideous, as America is being kind of, you know, ordinary Americans are finding life increasingly more and more difficult as Israel's propped up. We've got dancing women in large sort of champagne or wine glasses. Look, we've got footage like this. I've turned the volume down because of the music, but check this out. I mean, look, we've got le cage à folie, women in sort of, you know, negligees, which in and of itself, but this is Donald Trump. And we're being asked not to think that he was kind of up to his own. He couldn't make this shit up. As the world goes to pot, we've got such affluence and kind of, it's like a scene from the Squid Game, you know, where they're all sat at the top, sort of deciding the fates of people with their masks on. Are we reliving the Roaring '20s? Well, I think Donald Trump is. He's building a new ballroom. I mean, since when do we need ballrooms? What the fuck's going on? Anyway, those images. I mean, look, there you go. Woman in, what do you call it? A sort of cocktail glass. And we're being asked to assume that, you know, Donald Trump was in no way culpable during the Epstein stuff. Grotesque display of wealth, says Janina M. Absolute insanity. Okay, let's go to Israel. I just want to talk about this is the, let me just find the headline. Times of Israel. Netanyahu says prison abuse leak has caused enormous reputational damage to Israel. No shit, Sherlock. No shit. He's actually playing victim about footage released that demonstrated Israeli prison guards sexually abusing a Palestinian prisoner. He is now playing the victim card. I can't quite wrap my head around this. This is another one of those stories where I'm like, am I missing a part of the story here? Even in their sort of psychopathic self-justification of genocide. I mean, what am I missing here? So this story was kind of odd. This is odd because yesterday this was breaking. Prosecutor Yifat Tomer Yerushalmi, who exposed the Sadeh Tayman rape video had gone missing for a while yesterday after Netanyahu called it Israel's most dangerous attack. So not Israel's most dangerous attack of a Palestinian. He was the leaking of the tape was the crime that Netanyahu was upset about. It's also staggering. And so here we have footage. He's speaking in Hebrew, so you'll have to read the subtitles. This is Netanyahu expressing his frustration, whilst beneath him is a photograph of the accused guards masking them with masks over their faces so they're not identified for possible prosecution, I guess, at a later date.
שדה תימן גרם לנזק תדמיתי עצום למדינת ישראל ולצבא הגנה לישראל ולחיילים שלנו. זה אולי הפיגוע ההסברתי הקשה ביותר שמדינת ישראל חוותה מאז הקמתה. אני לא זוכר דבר ממוקד בעוצמה כזאת. זה מחייב בדיקה עצמאית ובלתי תלויה. אני מצפה שגם כזאת תתבצע.
Is anyone else getting, is there a total divergence of kind of outright? I mean, okay, he's the biggest, most evil, sinister dictator, genocider on the planet. I mean, he's a wanted war criminal. This isn't just us saying it. You know, the 180, however many countries in the world agree that he needs to be arrested and he needs to be. But for him to say what he's saying here speaks to another level of, well, I hate to say it. I don't want to be insulting. I have a mental health condition. This guy has to have quite a severe, delusional mental health condition. There are the suspects below. Look at them all with their arms around each other. They've assaulted, raped, sexually assaulted a Palestinian prisoner. This woman leaked the tape. She's since been fired. She went missing. She resigned. She was pushed. There was a moment yesterday where it looked like, and we all thought that she might have committed suicide. It was quite dramatic. She leaked the tape. She leaked the tape because it was so fucking awful. But Netanyahu's language, I'm just turning his volume down because we can't bear his voice, it's caused immense damage to the image of the state of Israel. No, hang on a minute. The leak of the tape hasn't caused damage to the image of the state of Israel. The state of Israel's behavior towards the Palestinians has destroyed the image of the state of Israel to the rest of the world. It's a staggering kind of description. It's perhaps the most severe media failure because you lost control of the narrative, because the world got to see unedited the footage of something that was just so gross and awful. So that's the media failure. I mean, I can't even wrap my head around it, that the state of Israel has ever experienced since its establishment. I do not recall anything so concentrated and powerful. I mean, maybe she was feigning her suicide because she knows her life will be unlivable now. I mean, what's going to happen to her? This woman who leaked the footage. I mean, she obviously felt it was so bad. She had a conscience. She had a conscience. Terrified for her. That woman is so strong and brave. She must be terrified. It's just shocking. But let's just stick with the idea that numerous senior members or representatives of the Israeli, unfortunately, regime are so spectacularly deluded. One actually has to stop arguing with them because otherwise you will go mad. Here's a clip from ITV's meeting with the infamous settler, Daniela Weiss. Check this out.
The so-called godmother of the settler movement, Daniela Weiss, sanctioned by the UK, accused of promoting and supporting acts of violence against Palestinians.
This is the state of the Jews, not the state of Arabs.
International law is not supportive of your plans for this land. The US President Donald Trump has made it clear he's not with you in your plans to annex this land for the state of Israel. Who is on your side?
Our sovereignty is here anyways, because we got it from God.
Does your understanding of God's word and giving you your right to be here, does that include violence against Palestinians to get them off the land?
What? There is no settler violence.
Do you mind if I show you a video?
No, I don't believe in videos. I do not watch it. What do you want me to close my eyes?
Well, this is the...
I don't see it.
Oh, come on, don't fucking hit her! Hey! Oh my God. Hey! 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 Holy shit. Hey! Oh no.
This is the reality.
I don't see it. You can show it to your audience. I do not see it.
But if you say to me there is no settler violence, I'm sure
No,
an
sir.
example.
There is violence against settlers. No settler violence.
I mean, at this point, I don't believe, she says, I don't believe, at this point, what you have to do is you just have to bail out, and you literally need to camp out and just wait until she passes away, hopefully in another 20 years. You can't engage in any kind of discussion or argument with someone who manifests true evil and justifies it with the spurious justification of God's will. We're talking about delusional. We're talking about, and this is not, I am someone with severe mental health conditions. So I'm not actually making light of having a mental health condition. She has a profound mental health condition. She's mentally insane. And that is, I'd be curious to know whether Danny Cohen wants to write something about if you criticize Daniela Weiss, somehow we're indulging in some kind of anti-Semitic trope. She's mental. She's mad. And I don't mean that I'm saying, I call myself mental sometimes, but she's truly undiagnosed, unacknowledged, delusional. She's living in a complete fantasy land. And so the actual ability to rationalize with her is impossible. So you just have to literally, just like, an old fashioned typewriter, you just throw the thing to the end. You just go, right, let's move on. Let's go somewhere else. Thank you, Farida. Mark, you can make light of it, especially if you understand it from experience. I do, absolutely. And it's, we can get outraged, we can get distressed, or we can choose to, and this is something that me and Nadia and a lot of people in the movement, activist movement, have to do. You have to just go, well, we need to pick and choose the battles, really. She's uneducated, she's ignorant, she's delusional, she's insane, she's monstrous, and she's a fantasist. And if you're dealing with those sorts of people in everyday life, I know a few, you have to cut them out. You just have to step to the side and go, I'm out of the kind of negotiating here. I'm out of the discussion. So there we go. That's Daniela Weiss for you. In other news, I just want to talk about. Sorry, just having a call come in a moment. An odd moment from Elon Musk.
Sort of small towns in England, Scotland, Ireland. They've been sort of living their lives quietly. They're like hobbits, frankly. So it's, in fact, J.R.R. Tolkien based the hobbits on people he knew in small town England. Because they were just like lovely people who like to, smoke their pipe and have nice meals, and everything's pleasant. The hobbits in the Shire. So he was talking about, places like Hertfordshire, like the Shire is around in the Greater London area, Oxfordshire type of thing. But the reason they've been able to enjoy the Shire is because hard men have protected them from the dangers of the world. But since they have almost no exposure to the dangers of the world, they don't realize that they're there until one day, 1,000 people show up in your village of 500 out of nowhere and start raping the kids. This has now happened God knows how many times in Britain.
What the fuck is he talking about? Is he talking about Hertfordshire and Oxfordshire? What? He's the caption at the top is Danny fucking Price. I'm sorry, I thought it was an urgent call from the doctors. I'm just going to play it one more time, just to really unpack the weirdness of this.
Lovely sort of small towns in England, Scotland, Ireland. They've been sort of living their lives quietly. They're like hobbits, frankly. So it's, in fact, J.R.R. Tolkien based the hobbits on people he knew in small town England. Because they were just like lovely people who like to, smoke their pipe and have nice meals, and everything's pleasant. The hobbits in the Shire. So he was talking about, places like Hertfordshire, like the Shire is around in the Greater London area, Oxfordshire type of thing. But the reason they've been able to enjoy the Shire is because hard men have protected them from the dangers of the world. But since they have almost no exposure to the dangers of the world, they don't realize that they're there until one day, 1,000 people show up in your village of 500 out of nowhere and start raping the kids. This has now happened God knows how many times in Britain.
I don't know if anyone else has. Have you seen any stories of thousands of people turning up in the shires around London and attacking our kids? I mean, obviously, he's trying to draw a parallel between the hobbits could live a sort of blithely unaware, idyllic crack pipe smoking existence, whilst hard men, and we know who he's referring to there because he's referred to him as a hard man, likes of Tommy Robinson, are out there doing the business of keeping all of those, Johnny foreigners at bay in case they come in and attack you. Well, the man has smoked so much stuff. I mean, one of the themes that seems to be coming through today is look at how many people in quite serious, elevated positions of power and authority are completely mad as a box of frogs on acid. It's just absolutely bizarre. And then in another moment, he's asked about the the interstellar object, because everyone's been saying, well, why isn't he saying anything? And then he comes out with a very odd comment.
Look, if I was aware of any evidence of aliens, Joe, you have my word. I will come on your show, and I will reveal it on the show.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good deal.
Yeah, it's a pretty good deal.
I believe you. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that.
I'll stick to, I keep my promises. So,
all right.
Yeah,
I'll hold you to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm never committing suicide, to be clear.
I don't think you would either.
On camera, guys, I am never committing suicide ever.
Can anyone, just within the rarity and the kind of incredibly kind of weird wilderness of Elon Musk's mind, how did he get from interstellar object? Yeah, okay, he'll come and tell us if he knows there's aliens, but he might be so distracted he's not even looking at this interstellar object. But then he says, I won't kill myself. Where does that come from? I mean, look, quite a few headlines on it, right? Elon Musk's suicide comment amid talk of alien comet with Joe Rogan. Never committing suicide. The Comet 3i Atlas conversation that triggered Elon Musk's declaration. Yeah, I mean, maybe he would never need to come on Joe Rogan's show to tell us that there are aliens because he is an alien. Wasn't it Candace Owens suggesting she thinks he's a hybrid or something? Luton is Hobbitland, says Murder, She Wrote. Suddenly everyone living in Hertfordshire, you've all got furry feet. We're going on an adventure. Not funny. Very strange. Very, 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 very strange. Maybe he's scared he'll be abducted. I think it speaks to the idea that people who have had alien experiences, is there a connection between suicide and alien abduction? I don't know. He's just not right. He's not right. Anyway, guys, there you go. Lots of weird fucking people in extraordinarily strong positions saying extraordinarily dysfunctional things, and none of our media sort of calls it out. It's just quite astonishing, isn't it? I mean, I suppose it was good that ITV News allowed Daniela Weiss to once again just gave her the longest piece of rope, really, didn't they? But I'm sure now even showing Daniela Weiss talking absolute evil is somehow an anti-Semitic trope. But anyway, there we go. I say all of this as someone diagnosed with some pretty severe mental health conditions. So there we go. So don't feel offended at all. Guys, have a great day. As I say, quite a few movie reviews are landing on the channel. Nadia Unfiltered is coming. How to Stay Married, all sorts of things coming. Home Times. We're ramping up. We're cranking up. We're heading towards Vlogmas. And it will be the No Name Sunday show tomorrow night on a Tuesday evening live. Take care, guys. Thank you so much.